Hello, dear friends. It is what day is it today? It is the 21st. Almost Western Christmas, as opposed to Orthodox Christmas, even though some Orthodox churches have switched to the Catholic calendar, which is the 7th of January, which is actually the 24th of December on the old Julian calendar. You see, the Catholics, after a split of the church, they switched over from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, which has a leap year. And every 100 years or so, about a day or day and a half, it separates out. So right now, we're at 14-day difference between the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar. So the Gregorian calendar is moving ahead. Steadily moving ahead. So anyways, well, happy upcoming Christmas to the Western Christians. Those who are still Christian, who still remember what Christmas is about. It's not about any Saint Nicholas, even though the actual Saint Nicholas is Saint Nicholas the Wonder Worker, and the German Saint Nicholas were, of course, holy men. But Christmas is not about them. It's not about toys. It's not about buying up everything in sight. And going into debt for stuff that nobody's going to use. For those who don't remember what Christmas is about, it's about the Savior, Jesus Christ, King of Kings. So, having said that, and never afraid to say that, today we're going to talk about the Nazi terrorist regime in Kiev and the thug Nazi and the thug terrorist enablers and actual terrorist regime in Washington. So we'll begin with Washington. The American Army murdered 6 civilians today in Kursk, Kursk, when they used shorter-range HIMARS-based missiles to hit the city or a town. Purely civilian buildings. Watch the video that's going to be on here in a minute. I'll put the video from emergency aid workers. Now, so that you understand, when I say these are Americans, these are Americans. These are American soldiers. They may be shit-dipped into Mercs, but those HIMARS platforms are run by Americans, and all the HIMARS missiles are directed in by GPS satellites, whether they're the longer-range ATACMS or the shorter-range various variants, including cluster munitions, that are used primarily against civilians. And those are Americans from start to finish that understand, that guide those in, that arm those. So it's the U.S. Army, whatever pretense it's using, is murdering Russian civilians. Putin, of course, is holding off on massive retaliatory strikes, waiting for Trump to get in. I'll tell you, if Trump doesn't put an end to this, the retaliation is going to come hard by the end of January, beginning of February, to pay back for everything that was done before. Just like, by the way, retaliation diplomatically came to the U.S. Consulates. They were closed down, and the U.S. Embassy, which was severely limited in size and scope, after Trump did absolutely nothing to undo the damage that Barack Obama did when Obama seized Russian state property owned in the U.S., just seized. Like a country home that was used as outings for the children of embassy staff. Now everybody's forgotten about that. But the U.S. started the diplomatic war on embassies and closed, just confiscated, raided the San Francisco consulate. Quite literally raided, charged in there, which I had absolutely no right to do because it's not American property, but America stole it. And it is sovereign Russian property, which is every embassy. And America, of course, spat on all the laws, international laws, and just stole it under Obama, as Obama was getting ready to leave office. Russia waited almost a year before retaliating, hoping that Trump would do something about it. Trump did absolutely nothing. And I'm not expecting much of Trump 2.0, to be honest. I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I doubt it. But we'll live and see. Maybe I will be very pleasantly surprised. Because where it was just a diplomatic war, We're no longer diplomatic, economic. We're in a hot war. Russia and America are in a hot war. And American soldiers are actively murdering Russian women and children. There you go. Let's say it the way it is. America has Russian blood on its hands. Again. Almost 100 years ago, it was the American army was murdering Russian civilians during the Russian Civil War. Right, it intervened in the far north and in the east and tried to set up its own little spheres of influence. So, whether they're fighting Bolsheviks or tentatively on the side of the white Russian army, the monarchists and the Republicans, it was still a matter of a resource grab along the lines with the Japanese in the Russian Far East. And it came down to torturing and murdering civilians. So where we go again. America again murdering Russian civilians.
Пизда, Ирка, пизда. Все нахуй, хлам. Ой, пизда.
Ты завалила там.
Нет, пока все проверили, никого нету. Пизда. Вот, пизда нахуй. Аминь нахуй. Воронка нахуй. Не, пока нет, там никого нету, в здании никого нет.
Никого нет.
Только проверили, да. Ребята еще там все вышли. В здании никого нету.
Пострадавший есть там был? Нет.
Увезли, один был увезли. Один был увезли.
Один в пункте там сидит. Один в машине стоит бронированный. Все, что там есть, мы, блядь, оттуда вытащим. Дай ему в помощь. Ни хрена, что я могу сделать?
Пацаны, говорите, что помочь надо.
Да мы сами вот сейчас...
Мы медики сами.
Да я понимаю.
Уебали, блядь, все кроме военных. Вот сюда здесь, он старше, блядь. Никто сюда не проходит. Все, блядь.
Все, понял.
Watch the video. Now, part 2. The American-enabled Nazi terrorist regime of Zelensky sent drones, a wave of drones in to Kazan. They hit, most of the drones were taken out either by electronic warfare equipment, which usually scrambles a signal or tells the system that it's a lot higher than it really is. So when the system tries to correct and lower its altitude, because it's flying almost nap of the earth, it crashes into something, hopefully a field. Or it was taken out by anti-air systems, active kinetic systems. Though 2 buildings were hit. One was a skyscraper around the 30th floor. And again, to understand what these drones are, these are Cessna-sized drones. They look like a Cessna. It's all wooden, plastic, glue, no metal components. So they don't get picked up on radar, and they're flying at nap of the earth, just above tree level. So they do fly under radar. And they're relatively slow. So again, that is a problem with modern radar systems. And again, they still got picked up at the end. They got intercepted, except for 2 that hit civilian buildings. And that's what America's pet Nazis aim for, civilian buildings. Just like America. That's what America just aimed at with this HIMARS platforms. And yes, by the way, every time those HIMARS platforms get destroyed, those are Americans burning to death. Yeah. So when Graham, Mr. Combat Lawyer Graham there tells you Americans aren't dying, oh, they are dying. Not just American mercs up front, but Americans and those HIMARS and the Patriot systems that get taken out are dying. Oh, and by the way, something that wasn't really talked about and flew under the radar, when that Oreshnik strike happened, that wasn't just a standalone Oreshnik strike. The Russian military intelligence located 2 NATO bases, or NATO headquarters. One was staffed by Americans, another was staffed by French. Was staffed, because it did exist. It no longer exists. They were destroyed using heavy missiles. So let's see how many more Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine officers die in car crashes, airplanes, mystery deaths in their apartments, like a certain colonel in Poland, and so on and so on. Got to explain it somehow. What I loved was the French one, where this 72-year-old 4-star general went for a walk in the mountains and fell off a cliff. I got to explain the death somehow, so to write them off this way. At least you could tell the families, or let know that these guys died in combat or near combat operations, supporting the illegal politics of their government, or the regimes that sit in place of their governments. At least those families can know that they died doing the duty, in case of America, very unconstitutional duty. So, but at least, they weren't, just dropping dead from heart attacks and car crashes, as gets written off. So anyways, there you go. U.S. is murdering Russian civilians. Flat out. The United States military is murdering Russian civilians. And nobody's going to forget this. Ever. And though payback may take a while, it will come in one form or another. And all those mercs, by the way, that do a little fighting on Ukraine's side, do a little civilian massacring, have fun the way these Western psychopathic mercs have fun, and then put their faces up all over YouTube. Do realize, gentlemen, that all of that's being saved, and your faces are being saved, and you will get retribution. You'll either be tracked down one way or another. There's a court waiting for you, and a long sentence. Somewhere cold, dark, with lots of trees that need chopping. So, keep putting your faces up. It's a good thing. So that's how that goes. It was interesting note that I saw was the necrologs for some 17 Brazilians that got whacked over time, including a woman who came in as mercs for Zelensky. Now, how desperate do you have to be for money? I mean, this isn't some kind of bush war, right? This isn't some war against some narco dealers. This isn't some enforcement agent. This is full-on combat. I mean, you got to be either shit-stone stupid not to realize what the hell you're getting into, or damn desperate. And most of these people don't look that damn desperate that they can't do anything else. But they come over here. The funny thing is when the Ukrainian army hires them. Because the Ukrainian army, they're dogs, they're animals, they're subhumans. What do you think Nazi, in this case, look at Hispanics or Arabs or whomever else come over there to fight for them? You're just meat. They're meat for the Americans and you're meat for them. I mean, Jesus Christ, people, you got to have half a brain cell still working somewhere in that noggin. And then the Colombians, for example, start bitching, oh, we're getting treated like dogs, because to them you are dogs. Woo! Welcome to reality, folks. And you ain't getting paid. And if you get dead, you're damn well not getting paid. Woo! Go figure on that one. Dead mercs means saved money. Or do you think it's going to happen to you? They're going to honor and obey their contract with you, whatever the contract is? They throw their own people as meat. You think you're going to be any better? Oh, but you're a Westerner or a Latino. Oh, you're important. No, you're not. You're even more expendable than everybody else. But the stupidity of these people is just, it's mind-boggling. I mean, really mind-boggling. You're going to defend the worst kleptocratic regime in the world. run by whom? Run by a drug addict. Well, actually, a bunch of drug addicts. Yeah. You gotta be an extra high advanced level of stupid to go for that. But apparently, there's a lot of advanced stupid running around this world. So, you know, maybe in a way it's a good thing that the gene pool gets cleaned up of extra high level stupid. But that is what it is, unfortunately. So, that's how it goes. And notice that they've stopped talking about the occasional American dying or Brit dying on the front, because talking about occasionally, it was starting to pile up anyways. You know, and the amount of them that died, Jesus, there's about somewhere between 12 to 15,000 dead mercs, if not more. True, half of them are Poles, but you know. Poland decided to get combat experience for its green troops in the regular Polish army. That's one way to do it. So you know, it is what it is. But yeah, so they keep at it, and they keep coming, and we keep killing them. So that's how that goes. Actually, interesting enough, because there were Poles in the sector I was visiting the first time I came in. Probably saved my life, because we were following a line of hills, and we were maybe about 2 kilometers from those hills. So the hills were covering up or blocking the view of our road, and we're in this big white Ford van. And I thought, you know, at least the white would give us some cover, but no, you know, it's like it was late December and absolutely no snow on the ground, all mud and green grass. So go figure. This is in 22, and we're driving, so we're just a big white spot. And there's this one point where the 2 rows of hills, they separate, and there's a east-west valley. It's about 5 kilometers in depth, and right into the enemy territory. I'm thinking, you know, any tank that's sitting there, we won't even hear the round that comes in, takes us out. And we're going slow because the road's just destroyed. We got to cross. We're staying with the troops. They're staying in these old houses in villages at the foothills. And, I mean, the front line is maybe about 800 meters west of us, if that much. Basically, the hills, the top of the hills is the front line. At least the line of contact for the Russian side. And then the gray zone. And, you know, our artillery's firing here and there. No return fire. Why there's absolutely zero return fire? I was talking to our guys, and I'm like, who's across? What unit? It's like, oh, it's all Poles. That's all we hear is Polish on the radio. I'm like, crap. It's the 24th of December. That's why nobody's firing at us, and nobody took us out while we were crossing the valley. It's Christmas for the Catholics. Okay, so yeah, it helped. Luckily back then, in end of 22, drones weren't quite as widely used. They were just starting up to really use the drones, FPV drones and so on. FPV drones, I'm sorry. So anyways, that's where we're at right now. U.S. Army murdering Russian civilians and enabling the Ukrainian Nazis to murder, or attempt to murder Russian civilians. So, there you go. I'd say have fun, but, you know, hopefully we're still here by the 20th of January. And we'll see, actually, if the 20th of January when it happens in the U.S. That's going to be a fun show come 6th of January. Start with that, when Congress has to confirm the election of Donald Trump by the college, the Electoral College. So we'll see. We'll see. God bless. Cheers.